Api Coruscant is challenging for the Dally M Hooker of the Year. In my books, I think he was absolutely outstanding. But look, Egan, the unsung hero in the Warriors team this year, and probably deserves it, but I wouldn't care if Coruscant got it either.
Yeah, it's a tough one because you're looking at the same thing. Your Cameron Munster call as well. The 5'8" of the year nominees, Ezra Mam, Cameron Munster, Cody Walker on the shape of the season, because he's had some great games, Cameron Munster, but he hasn't had the season of excellence that we've normally seen from him. Cody Walker had a good patch, and then the finish to the year probably wasn't great. Ezra Mam, is he at that level? His performance week in, week out? Was he the guy?
Towards the end of the season, absolutely. He'd be my pick, the way he sort of developed, and he's of the other two contenders, he's probably the one that's been the most consistent, and he's because of how good Adam Reynolds is, and because of how much of the limelight Reece Walsh has rightly sort of stolen this year. We don't talk about Ezra Mann probably in the way that he deserves to be spoken about.
Yeah, great. He's so much fun to watch. Those flick passes this year have been fantastic, and I think Brisbane have been waiting for someone like him to come through, and they've had those bad couple of years, but you look at there now. Have Selwyn Cobbo nominated for Winger of the Year, Katoni Staggs Centre of the Year, Prop of the Year. Obviously, Payne Haas is in that list. So Pat Carrigan, Lock of the Year, Reynolds, Captain of the Year. It's amazing that the turnaround from where they were, and obviously Coach of the Year with Kevy. So
I think Kevy's the Coach of the Year. I really do. Like, even before he got to the grand final, it's a huge ask coaching the Broncos. Like, it's, in my opinion, the highest pressured job in NRL coaching, because they're the biggest club in the game. They have the most attention because of that. Webster did an outstanding job with the Warriors, and he took them from where they were last year to top 4, and I didn't think it was possible. And he did it from a pure coaching perspective. He did an unbelievable job. And if he gets the award, well done to him. I just think that the pressure of coaching the Broncos is very different to the pressure that goes with coaching the Warriors.
Yeah.
And for that reason, Kevy came into this season, honest to God, if he didn't get the Broncos firing after last year's back-end collapse, he would have been gone. He would have been toast. And he's done such an amazing job to rebuild that club. I just think he warrants the award.
Any job where you have Peter Bedell calling you every day.
Every day. They turn up in their droves at their training sessions, Monty.
I should know. Any job that has Peter Bedell calling you daily is a tough gig.
And anything with Pete calling you never know what he's going to say on the other end. You never know what's coming.
It's such a great story too. Even with Billy Walters at the start of the year, we all thought that Billy Walters was there because of his old man, and he was the weak link in this superstar spine. And could they become a premiership force with kind of like a makeshift hooker? I didn't think they could. And I thought that I actually thought at one point they'd made a mistake when they had Cobbo there and they had Herbie Farnworth. Did they really need to go and recruit someone like Reece Walsh? How stupid am I? Because seriously, at the start of the year, you thought to yourself, well, Herbie wanted to play fullback.
Yep.
Selwyn wanted to play fullback. How are you going to fit all these guns in the team? Meanwhile, you're playing with a makeshift hooker.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you go and recruit a top-notch hooker? How good was Billy Walters on the weekend?
Yeah.
Especially his start to the game.
Yeah. Well, I guess Penrith, and this is no sort of disrespect to Mitch Kenny or anything like that, but Penrith faced a similar situation where they lost Api Coruscant, and people were talking about, especially at the start of the year, how much they'd lost from, not having Api Coruscant there. But, these two sides that have a really good spine, but, probably the unsung hero in both of the spines are the hookers. They're the ones playing in the grand final.
And it's taken a bit of the season for Mitch Kenny to get to where he is, because he hasn't been an 80-minute NRL hooker. Yes, he's been there for a few seasons, but he's been off the bench. And as fit as you are in training, everything else, if you're only playing 25 minutes a game in the lead up to taking a full-time gig, it's going to take you a little bit more to find your rhythm, but he's done amazingly well, so it's going to be interesting to see who wins that battle. But I love, it comes down to coaching with Billy Walters. For he's been around a couple of clubs, and he's been in a few different roles, and his dad put him in hooker and said, "This is what we're doing. This is what we need from you." And he's produced. And not only that, I'm not even going to dare to say that he just sits there at dummy half and feeds those guys. You saw what he did at the weekend.
On the weekend, he was running at will. He was he was backing himself at every opportunity. And that's, you talk about coaching. A coach's job is to bring out the best in the talent that's available to him. And Billy Walters is clearly playing with great belief in himself. But the other person it's also the way that Kevy, you know, he was criticised by even two of his own players last year in Selwyn Cobbo and Tyson Gamble when he was on the outer, saying, you know, Adam Reynolds is the coach there. Kevy has allowed Adam Reynolds to take on that senior role, and you can clearly see how much these young players respect Reynolds. And that's the thing that they didn't have when Seibold was there. They didn't have that leader in the side, whereas now Reynolds is like the old man as he walks around, and he takes these players under his wing, and you can see his humility and his just what a wonderful leader he is by the way that these players are drawn to him.
Yeah.
And he's made them the complete football side.
Yeah.
Without him, they wouldn't be where they are.
No, you're right.
Kevy's given him that freedom too.
Yeah.
Righto. Well, I've got to get a tip from you. Dally M Player of the Year. So the leaderboard after round 12, when voting went behind closed doors, Payne Haas was your leader at 30 points. Nathan Cleary, 27. Obviously missed a lot of games. Harry Grant, Nico Hines, 25. Reece Walsh, 24, but ineligible. Latrell Mitchell, 23. Is he ineligible as well in that list?
Who was that?
Latrell with his suspensions, or is he? I think injury might be too far back anyway.
Yeah.
And then 22, Ben Hunt, Cody Walker, Dylan Edwards, Sean Johnson, and then 21 or worse the rest. Payne Haas at 30 points, round 12. You head into Origin, so you're competing against the best of the best for some Dally M points during the Origins period. You miss a little bit of football. Sean Johnson's 8 points behind. You get maximum six for, you know, your votes on a game. Is there enough of a lead? Can Payne Haas become the first prop to win that one in however long? Have we had a front rower?
Jason Tamalolo was a middle, but front rower, I don't know if we have. I think
one. What will happen?
Gav Miller is a forward.
They've had a few forwards and they've had quite a few dummy halves, but I don't know if they're. Jason Taumalolo was the only middle that I can kind of remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I think, he's there. Carrigan missed a few games. He would have been thereabouts. The problem is you got all these different players taking points off, like Walsh. The fact that Walsh is ineligible because of that 3-match suspension.
And still accrues points.
Yeah, and he's been such a standout. I think that Ponga's run towards the finals, he literally would have got at least 8 man of the matches, I'd say. Standout man of the match. So he'll charge home up that leaderboard. But I do think I would be shocked if Johnson didn't win it.
Well, he's on 6 points at the moment, Ponga, after round 12.
Yeah.
So if you've got 8, all right, let's give him 8. 6 is 48 points, 54 points. Can he get there? It's a big start to give. He'd have to be Chautauqua to get there.
Yeah, I think Payne might experience sort of what Cleary did. Was it in 2020 or 2021, where everybody else around him was sort of stealing points off him?
It was incredible. That was the year Jack Whiten won.
Shocked
the world.
Oh. Shocked the world. Yeah. So I think it might be something similar to Payne. Sean Johnson probably picked up a lot of points towards the end of the back season. So
missed a few games too.
Yeah.
Nathan's got to win a Dally M at some point. Not by no means throwing a charity Dally M his way, but at the level at which he dominates, he's got to win a Dally M. Everything's if it's not injury or whatever else.
I think he's got his game. Yeah, he's got his game to a point now where if Penrith win and even the guys around him have absolute blinders of a game, his game is still just a little bit above everybody else, that he, the likelihood now that his teammates are going to take more points off him like we saw in previous seasons.
But how many weeks did he miss also with the hamstring injury coming out of Origin? Probably 6 or so.
Yeah, that's going to cost him.
That's the thing. Without that, he probably would be up there. He would be up there because his form every game he plays is incredible. But
Yeah.
that's the thing, you know. To win a Dally M, you've got to be on the field.
So give us a tip.
I reckon Sean Johnson.
Johnson for sure, I'd say.
Oh, I'm going Haas. I want to see him
I
get
hope so.
there.
Yeah, I reckon he'd be a deserving winner.
I think my maths might be wrong. I don't know if he's. It's.
I was like,
looking
I'm
over his
glad
shoulder.
you were
This is
doing
one thing
that.
I can't understand it.
It's hard now. Now, when it was 3 points before, and Buzz does this on the other podcast, asks me maths questions every week, and it just questions without notice, which really deserves a calculator answer. So I don't know how to figure out with just the 3. But interesting to see where that goes Wednesday night.